Okay, that's about a minute. Once again, good afternoon, folks. Welcome. My name is Adrian A. I'm the Senior Solutions Architect here at D&H Canada, responsible for the pre-sales of Lenovo, ISG servers and storage solutions. Welcome to the webcast today on ThinkSystem's V4 refresh. Today, we're going to talk about Lenovo's latest server refresh, the version 4, running on the latest Intel Xeon processors, and how that is going to help your customers consolidate their servers when they refresh, and how that benefits the efficiency of their workloads. If for some reason you want to hear about something else, right? Please reach out to me and let me know what you want to hear about. These sessions are here for you, our D&H partners, and we want to talk about what you want to hear about that would help you and your customers. I also have on the call today Paul Scaini from Lenovo. He's the Director of Portfolios and Alliances. But before I hand it over to him to take us on this adventure of V4 refreshes, just some housekeeping that I will have to go through. We're taking questions throughout the webcast, so just punch them in the Q&A box that's on your screen right now. We will also have an additional Q&A session at the end to get through most, if not all, of the questions. During the webcast, I'll be looking over the Q&A list to see if there are any questions, and if it makes sense, I'll interrupt Paul and get him to answer some of those questions that you guys might have. So, okay, so one last thing before we turn over to Paul is a quick word about D&H. For those of you that don't know, D&H is a company with a North American perspective across U.S. and Canada. We've been around for over 100 years. We started life as a tire retreading company in 1918, now evolving into a North American IT distribution company. We are 100% North American service. All partners get a dedicated sales rep or team that's always based in North America. We're never outsourced. Revenues exceeding $6 billion across US and Canada, growing at 3x the rate of our competitors over the last 10 years. We're named by Forbes as one of America's largest private companies since 2009. As for D&H Canada, we're almost 20 years in business in Canada. We're headquartered in Mississauga with a brand new facility built in 2023. We have two Canadian distribution centers. Both are new, one in Mississauga and one in Surrey, BC, which increased our logistics footprint by 3 times since 2022. We have a new integration and services center, 4 square foot of dedicated space in our Mississauga DC. Over 110 manufacturer partners, lots of vendors, lots of partners. We recently got recognized by Lenovo as Distributor of the Year. So lots to be excited about, and lots to be excited about, and lots to experience to get together. This is just a quick chart on who I am. In the upper right-hand corner, there's our shared box for Lenovo ISG queries. If you have questions about configs, building solutions, deal registration, getting bid pricing, all that kind of stuff, I can help you basically from solution design all the way to getting your costs. So, I've been doing this for many years. I started life out at IBM, and then worked in the channel the last 10 years, and then in the last couple of years I'm here at distribution. So okay, with all that said, our special guest today is Paul Scaini is going to take us through the V4 refresh with the ThinkSystem servers. Paul, over to you, please.
Adrian, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on here talking to all of you. And I'm here today to how we're going to unlock our AI-ready infrastructure with Lenovo and D&H. The partnership together is excellent. Love working with these guys. And hopefully we can work together with your customers to help them get ready for the future. Right? So let's start with our customers, because I think we all want to be customer-centric, right? This is the most challenging time in history to be an IT leader, right? You got user challenges, you got budget challenges, right? The pace of technology change, right? The amount of things that are happening so quickly in the industry is at breakneck speed at this point, right? And AI is only accelerating it, right? A lot of our customers are working with underperforming and failing assets. There's this data overload where we just keep collecting and collecting data. What do we do with it? There's physical threats, there's cyber threats, there's all kinds of that going on top of all the things that they need to kind of keep on top of. An aging workforce, there's a lot of skill gaps. And the younger, like hot talent are harder to keep, right? Because they keep getting offered jobs and changing companies pretty quickly, right? And then, obviously places where there's inconsistent internet. I had Rogers Cable for a very long time, and I know all about that inconsistent internet from that perspective. So those are all the kind of challenges that they face. But, I'm just going to put a little poll question up here just to give an idea of who's kind of working who in the audience, right? What's the oldest server you ever replaced at a customer site? Typically, customers keep servers for 3 to 5 years. Sometimes they're stretching them and keeping them longer. They're getting those extended warranties. And maybe you replaced an Abacus once where the gear was so old that it was a manual piece of equipment, right? So just if you could jump on and let me know kind of the oldest piece of server that you've replaced in your customers. We did get one Abacus. That's awesome. Well, the problem with old gear is it's holding back your AI ambitions, right? Old gear doesn't get refreshed by the manufacturer as much, so you're more prone to security threats and vulnerabilities and that type of stuff. There's a higher risk of downtime because older hardware tends to have performance issues, and those performance issues can cause business disruptions in your customers, right? Operational complexity, siloed systems or manual processes, they slow down the pace of innovation, and then rising costs. People don't understand that keeping around old gear can be a lot more expensive than just replacing it with the new gear when it comes to things like maintenance, definitely your energy usage, and just support costs of supporting old gear, right? Just some statistics out here. 4.88 million is the average cost of a data breach. And 70% of orgs have at least one legacy system, which is vulnerable for those kind of data breaches. It costs, you have a data breach, and with that money that you spent trying to fix that data breach, you could have bought all new gear and kind of kept things going, right? There's about 17 hours lost by IT teams maintaining outdated system, and that's like per week status. We got that from ServiceNow. And there's about $40,000 annual cost maintaining these legacy systems. So the longer you keep this stuff around, a lot of our customers, they delay that refresh because they're trying to save some money. We got to help them understand that by delaying the refresh in the long run, it's actually going to cost them more. Right? And so modernizing your IT has all kinds of different benefits. One, simplicity, right? You can simplify your end-to-end management. Using brand new tools allow you to use the latest and greatest management tools. You can unify your management across your hybrid environments where you can manage your on-prem stuff and in the cloud on a single pane of glass. There's lots of benefits to upgrading and making sure you're on the latest and greatest. The second we talked about this is security. A lot of new products come with a lot more built-in security features than some of the older products. So you're getting a lot of these benefits for free because they're built into the products that you might not get in some of your previous products. And if I ever get on here to talk about some of our Lenovo storage, our new storage products that come out have a lot more security features than the previous generation as well. So that's across the board, not just on the server side. The next is just being able to innovate, being able to do some of these modern workloads, right? Some of the P cores and things like that you'll learn about on the Intel processors that come out are natively helpful when you're trying to do AI workloads. And then lastly, just kind of maximizing your bang for your buck, right? You're getting better performance, you're getting better power efficiency by upgrading to these new systems. Now, we do this survey with IDC every year, and we interview IT managers across the board. I think there's about 900 that we interview across North America. 600 of them are in the US and 300 of them are in Canada, and they range from small businesses to up as large as the Coke Industries, which is a massive company here in the US. And it's very interesting insight that I get from this. And if you look at what they want to do from a priority perspective, higher customer experience and satisfaction is number one. But then you ask the same question a little bit differently and say, what is your top business challenges? Well, then customer experience drops all the way down to number 4. And that means things like cybersecurity, data management, digital transformation, keeping talent are preventing them from the things that they really want to do. So then what happens in organizations is there's this tug of war between, do I refresh my gear or do I do the new project or do it? And every IT organization is kind of going through that because there's a limited budget and they have that tug of war going back and forth. We need to help our customers out of that tug of war, because sometimes doing that refresh saves them enough money to then unlock some of the future projects like the cool AI stuff they really want to be doing, as opposed to trying to spend all their time keeping the lights on. And so this is how we do it, right? And I always talk about AI having three kind of prerequisites or three ingredients, right? Those three ingredients are time, money, and data. And so by updating your gear, you can declutter, reduce a lot of your operational complexity and overhead, and spend more time doing the future-looking things as opposed to maintaining your old gear. That saves you a bunch of time. Then you're optimizing your cost, right? Think about your VMware licensing or that type of stuff going forward, right? Are you refreshing your gear and consolidating on a single hardware or software vendor can save you a whole bunch of time and money. It also allows you the flexible resiliency of having the new gear, and then you can get the balance right between what you have in the cloud and what you have on-prem. Because sometimes when your workloads are really elastic, it makes sense to put them in the cloud, but over time it becomes more expensive, so you can reevaluate that and save money by putting them on-prem. The last thing is getting your data right. I always joke that AI plus bad data makes bad decisions faster. So by helping manage your data better, you're getting better data collection, availability, and security. That's preparing your infrastructure for AI. And so, as I said before, these are really the kind of prerequisites for kind of building AI. You have to have time, you have to have money, and you have to have good data. So I'm going to throw another poll up. Which prerequisites for AI do your customers often have the biggest problem with? And I've heard all across the gamut, but I'm just interested to hear about your customers. Do they not have time to do AI? Do they not, and by time, it means skillful man hours, so maybe they don't have the right skills. Is it money and they can't afford these kind of projects? Or is their data an absolute disaster? All right. So now we're going to talk about our V4 portfolio, right? So we've came out with three basic kind of rack products that are the mainstream of our portfolio today that you can buy today. They're available on our configurator through D&H. And it's our SR630, which is kind of your compact, efficient IT one new box that has up to 2 sockets of Intel. We have our SR650 V4, which is your kind of enterprise workhorse. It's the standard of the market that enables AI-ready options for your infrastructure. You can put some GPUs in there. And then the SR650A, and A is optimized for what we call accelerators. So those are GPUs, FPGAs, or different things that you can on there that are really targeted towards AI workloads, high-performance computing workloads, and GPU-dense products as well, right? So by launching these, we're enabling this versatility. Each of these boxes have a lot more versatility than the previous generation. They're AI-driven intelligence. A lot of the Xclarity, which is our system management that sits on top of it, is coming up with some of the predictive failure analytics on some of the boxes that then helps you manage your gear better. And they're also engineered with sustainability in mind. So they're the most energy efficient portfolio we've ever had. We do things like making sure our packaging is eco-friendly, and we have lots of eco-friendly ways to dispose of your old gear, including LVR, which is our value-add recovery services that make sure that your gear is safely disposed and not harmful for the environment. So I'm going to dive into each of these a little bit deeper now, just to talk about them. So Intel in this generation, they have 2 types of cores, which they never had before. You'll see something called an E-core and something called a P-core. An E-core is kind of like an efficiency core. So it's basically meant to run as energy efficiently as possible, because there's certain workloads that don't need to be operating at the highest performance ever. So when that happens, you can only activate the E-cores, and then that enables you to kind of save your energy on those workloads, so you're not optimizing them. But then those that want performance, you go for P-core, and that's what performance P is for performance. It offers up to 86 P-cores, which is about 2 to 3 times increased performance from the previous generation that you would be replacing from that perspective. Some of the other kind of highlights on these is the AI predictive maintenance and stuff like that we have on our newest version of Xclarity controller. There's optimized storage and stuff on here. There's a lot of NVMe drives that are on here. This is a great opportunity to have your customers update to an all-flash system, right? If they're trying to do AI and they're still putting spinners in their box, they're not ready for AI. Their data's not going to get ingested fast enough, right? So these are things to be thinking about with customers that are kind of migrating. If they do want the cheapest thing possible and they're not thinking about doing AI, spinners are perfect. But remember, with the breakneck pace of change, You're deploying something now that could live for up to 8 years. Think about where we were in AI 8 years ago to where we are today. Things are changing at such a rapid pace. You want to make sure that your customers are kind of future-proofing them as well, right? The other thing I'd like to point out that's new across this generation is our Neptune warm water cooling. So we have something called Neptune Air, which is basically a closed-loop system that sits inside the server, which helps you optimize your cooling. We do have like full Neptune, which requires a CDU or a chiller on the roof or that kind of stuff where you have to run some plumbing. But all of our mainstream systems have the ability, especially on the higher CPUs, to add this Neptune cooling onto the box. And what that does is it saves a whole bunch of fan power. So you don't have to be running the fans as hard. You can generate about 40% less power, which converts out to about a little over 6,000 kilograms of carbon dioxide a year. So these options are significantly more energy efficient than the predecessors, especially when you're looking at gear that's 3 to 5 years old that you're replacing it from. So again, just being ready for AI is part of the deal. Now with our Xclarity controller, everything that we do is using something called OpenBMC. So we're standardized on a global standard when it comes to all the things that we do from a BMC perspective. And that makes it so much easier to kind of plug into other panes of glass if you're a ServiceNow shop or you're running Prism or some of those other things. We have all the connectors that kind of come into that. Or if you feel like writing your own scripts or you're that type of customer, you have the ability to do it. And by using OpenBMC, you can translate those to kind of any other box because they are an open standard. Now we're going to talk about the 2U. 2U has this, the same kind of ideas, 86 P cores that are on there, same increase in performance. You get the same NVMe capacity on here, except obviously it's double because it's a 2U size box. It does have the same predictive failure analysis and optimization for your products on it as well. And the Neptune cooling is available on this product as well. The other options are, you can fit a couple more GPUs into the 2U. So going to the 2U as opposed to 1U is potentially future-proofing your system to be able to add GPUs later when your customers are ready for an AI workload. And lastly, I'm going to talk about our performance box, our beast here. This box is meant for high-density kind of GPUs, right? So in the 2U, we can fit 8 single-wide GPUs. So these would be using a single slot in them. And the way that this system is set up, the GPUs are in the front, so they get the coldest air coming into the system from that perspective. Or we could fit 4 double-wide GPUs, which are usually the ones that are done for more of the training and that type of stuff, whereas the single-wides are typically done for more inferencing and different type of BDI workloads or video type of workloads as well, right? Again, these have NVMe options for the fastest storage as well, and have all the same predictive failure analysis as some of these products. And these ones have even more Neptune cooling power because we're able to even take some of the cooling using that closed loop on the GPUs as well. And if any of you have been using GPUs lately, you know that they're power hungry. So on this box, you're actually maximizing your saving. From a fan perspective, you could be saving up to 71% less power on an AI workload because the AI workloads, again, are drawing more power from the GPUs. And then, you're almost 6 times the amount of carbon that you're saving on an AI workload compared to like a standard workload. All right, so now we're going to talk about kind of consolidation. So if we're looking all the way back, if it's 8 years ago, the 2017 was about 8 years ago, right? And we had some people in the chat that were talking about 8-year-old gear. It's almost a 5x consolidation of gear. So if you had 4.5, 4.75 rack worth of gear, on an Intel Xeon first generation in 2017, and that's the system you're replacing, you can significantly reduce the footprint from 5 to 1 rack, and you can accomplish the same workload from that perspective. And that's huge, especially for our customers that are running out of data center space or that type of stuff, or even if they're in a colo, right? In colos, you're paying per space in the tower, in like per square meter of floor tile, right? So if you're able to consolidate from 5 to 1, there's a significant additional savings that your customers get from that consolidation. So again, it's really important to make sure your customers are upgrading. Now we're going to talk about Intel, right? Intel Xeon 6 processors, excellent. They're AI ready. They're high performing. They're great for databases and network security, and have a bunch of extra security features on them. They're also perfect for storage and content delivery, right? Exceptional performance, more cores, more memory bandwidth, and faster memory, but generation to generation, right? We went from the DDR4 to DDR5, right? And then efficiently compute. They're also built with those kind of scalable cores or the E cores, so then when you're not necessarily using them for high performance workloads, you're getting better optimization as well. Secure and tested, as I mentioned, Intel's got a bunch of extra security features in this generation of product, and they're built around the foundation of AI, which means that there's a bunch of libraries that can use those P cores, and they're optimized for accelerated systems. So Intel's done a lot of work to optimize their CPUs to work with those NVIDIA GPUs that we're all buying for AI in order to get the maximum efficiency between the CPU and the GPU. And so just some stats on upgrading them, right? You're looking at 1.9x efficiency, so higher performance per watt. And that's based off a typical 40% utilization from a prior generation. So you're basically getting, your cores are not only more of them, but your cores are almost double efficient compared to the way they used to be, right? There's about 2.5x significant performance increase, particularly on the HPC or performance workload compared to their previous generation. So they're more efficient, they're way more powerful, and they're way more performing, and then they're AI optimized, right? So if you look at an AI workload compared to AMD EPYC, that AI efficiency that I talked about, where the CPU and the GPU talk together, compared to Intel, you're getting a 5x. Compared to AMD, you're getting a little over a 5x improvement on your AI workloads. All right, so now we're going to talk about the actual virtualized workloads that go on servers. So we use something here called the VX or VMark score, right? Those of you that are familiar with VMware and are not angry at them right now, we'll be used to that kind of a software, but we use kind of the VMark to kind of measure them. So we compared that 7-year-old, 8-year-old system, which is our SR650 V1, compared to today, and you're basically, on the old system, you're getting a VMark 3 score of a 1.44. On the new system, you're getting a 3.39. So it's almost more than a double boost of the virtualized workloads per server, which means on the same server that you're replacing, you can put almost 2.5 times the amount of virtualized workloads on the same server from that perspective. And right here, we show some transparency in the specs that we did in our testing lab to come up with these results. They're repeatable. I think we have a white paper on it. If you're interested, you can ping Adrian or I, and we'll get it for you and help you convince your customers that they need that refresh. The last thing I wanted to kind of talk about that's going to help with this refresh, which is I think a very awesome tool that we need to use, is OneIQ. OneIQ is actually a Canadian company. They were based in the Toronto area, but they're headquartered in Waterloo. Unlike some of our competitors who have a kind of a homegrown sizing tool, we use a third-party tool that would, because there's no funny business going on. It's a third-party validated. Nutanix uses the same tool for their product as well, and we think that this is an awesome tool to make sure that you are completely right-sizing the workloads for your customer environment. So what it does is basically when you sign up for a demo and you get it, your customer gets given an agent that then can sit on their premises, and usually want to have it run for a little over a week. That way you get the kind of full week cycle of kind of workloads that happen in their environment. And what it does is it builds kind of like a real-time collecting of data that looks at what applications they're using, the interconnects, the environments, and all that kind of stuff, and then collects all of that data. Once all that is collected, it creates this kind of a sandbox environment that then the customer invites you, or if they want to invite Adrian or one of our architects as well, we can all kind of look in that environment and help them kind of optimize and modify that environment to make sure that we're getting all the right analytics on it. So what it'll do is it'll tell you if certain workloads are straining or not getting the full performance that they need. It'll tell you if you're kind of over provisioned on certain other workloads, and it'll give you kind of an analysis on the gear that you have there today. But the best part is it helps you kind of design, right? So what it does is it gives a recommendation for either a ThinkSystem product, which is the servers that we had here today, or a ThinkAgile product, which is basically our hyperconverged infrastructure that's built upon our servers. So ThinkAgile is a kind of preloaded, kind of turnkey, single support solution for our 3 biggest partners, which is basically VMware, Nutanix, and then Microsoft. So you could either run Azure on-prem or an ESXi or a vSAN environment. And so you could either choose it to kind of just pick the server itself, or pick the environment that you're running in. If you know that it is a VMware environment or a Nutanix environment, you could help kind of build out the specifics of it. And then there's a one-click integration into DCSC, so you don't even have to go configure it. After the OneIQ sets you up for success, you can basically export that file, and it goes right into our configurator, so you can make sure that our kind of products exist. And then it's actually a very customer-centric design. It's pretty easy to use. I was able to figure it out pretty quickly going forward. For those of you that aren't using OneIQ when you're helping to size these opportunities, I highly recommend doing it. It is free for our partners that want to use. You just have to kind of sign up for some IDs and that kind of stuff going forward. So I think I have one more poll question. Have you ever used the OneIQ tool? And this is a question for the group, right? So either yes, I have, or no, but I've used something similar from the other OEMs. We all know Live Optics and some of the other ones that exist from some of our competitors. Or no, this is awesome, sign me up. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of close this out with a call to action before we start getting into some of the questions. I had a lot of coffee today, so I think we're ahead of schedule. But it starts by reaching out, right? Email, call the customers. Who we're going to target is the customers that have old expiring infrastructure, customers you sold servers to 2.5 years plus out there. This is the right time to start having that conversation, because the original 3-year warranties are about to expire. You want to get in there beforehand before we have those kind of conversations. Or honestly, any acquisition customer. There's no wrong time to reach out for a refresh. I guarantee all of our customers are sitting on old gear, and there's an opportunity for us to get in there and win on the refresh. Then you want to set up a discovery call. You want to figure out what those pain points are, right? What are the goals for this year from an IT perspective? Going back to that survey, right? Understanding what their goals are for the year, and then some of the challenges that they have for those goals, right? Again, ask some questions like, when was the last time you had a major infrastructure refresh update? Or which of your systems are approaching end of life or losing manufacturing support, right? These are all great questions to find out all the old gear that they have sitting there. Are you seeing an increased maintenance cost for your current infrastructure, or are you experiencing frequent system shutdowns or crashes or any of those kind of things? If they say yes to any of those kind of questions, they're the perfect customer for having a refresh conversation. Then you want to set up that customer meeting, right? And so you want to address those pain points with the Lenovo V4 servers, and on a partner hub and on a lot of our public-facing stuff, we can get you all of the information that you need that I kind of showed today, plus more, even some of the speeds and feeds products that I have here in the back of this slide, which I will be sharing with everyone. That'll give you all of the fuel you need to help our customers, see the value of doing that refresh, right? And then the next step is to size it and make sure we get the sizing right. And that's where we schedule the OneIQ assessment that I talked about earlier. If you've never done one before, you can register using the company email address on the OneIQ portal, and that's my.oneiq.com. And again, I'll be sending this out, so you don't necessarily have to frantically write it out or go there in real time. But you click help and contact on the left of the navigation to assist a request a license, and then basically provide the name of an email address of your Lenovo supporter. So if you have a Lenovo rep that's on the same account, I'm not sure if Adrian, actually you can be a supporter or not, but Adrian will help find the right person to go kind of make it happen. And then boom, we can start sizing and making sure that we get the right refresh, and we're not over provisioning for our customers, so we can truly get a lot of value out of that refresh. All right. That's all I had. As I said, I think I had a little too much coffee this morning, so I flew through the slides a little faster than I'd hoped. But efficiency cores, right? I'm making sure that I'm running at efficiency. So I guess we're going to open it for any questions. I saw there was something in there. Hopefully, Matthew, you were able to see the presentation since then. But we're here for you guys. If you have any questions, please let us know, and we'll definitely be sharing the slides or everything that comes out afterward.
Yeah, you could download the slides on your screen right now in the resources section. But if not, we'll be sending the link out as well for the replay after the webcast. So if any of your teammates missed this, or if you want to send the link to your teammates who couldn't join this call, they could totally take a look at the replay. In terms of questions, I don't see any right now, but if you guys want to ask a question, please post it up in the Q&A. While we wait for you to post up, let me just put up my slide back up again, so you have my email contact in the upper right hand corner if you want to reach out for any of the stuff that we talked about. If you want to know anything in more detail, you want to dive deeper, you want help with a config, any of that stuff, I'm here to help you. But Paul, thank you for taking us through today on the ThinkSystem V4 portfolio refresh. We learned what some customer challenges are today and how they're different from previous years. What else? And how Lenovo ThinkSystem V4 servers can help address those challenges, right? We heard how aggressively we can consolidate workloads when refreshing older servers onto V4 servers that now have Intel CPUs that have performance cores and efficiency cores, and lots of support for single wide and double wide GPUs, right? So if you guys have a customer with a 3-year, 5-year, 8-year-old server, give me a call and we can talk, right? We're seeing a lot more water cooling support on servers as well. And what was the last? Oh, and we also learned about one IQ assessment, right, which helps to collect, analyze, and design a refresh solution, right? So that was awesome. Let's take a look. What do we have? Do we have a question here? VMware has messed with the SMB space. I have 0 clients that want to keep going with them at refresh time. Sad. Yeah, absolutely, Bob. We've seen the same things here.
Yeah, and it's not just the SMB space, but yeah, especially because they're forcing a minimum number of cores per cluster. That's forcing customers that were on really small environments to it. Just a little bit of, because I see all of North America, and so one of the trends that I thought was going to happen was the Nutanix was going to kind of run away with a lot of these customers. They are gaining share, but not as nearly as much as I thought, because I think their prices have gone up as well. So they're not necessarily a great partner for an SMB perspective. We do have another alternative partner that I think D&H exclusively kind of gets through Lenovo, which is a company called Scale Computing. I was actually in California seeing them last week. They're a real good partner of ours. They just went through an acquisition. They merged with the company. Who was it? It'll come to me. But they're about to do some big things as well. I think we have systems that are kind of preloaded with their software as well. They're a great alternative, especially in the SMB space. We're also seeing like new players out there like Proxmox and that type of stuff, especially if you're only looking at a hypervisor environment. And one of our Canadian sales architects actually came out with a white paper where we've tested kind of Proxmox on the products as well. I know it's not our partner yet. Yes, well, they don't necessarily have partners because they're open source, but we've done a lot of testing with them, and we have some white papers to prove that our servers run well on them. But yeah, they're definitely going to be a player in this space for sure.
On our last webcast, we talked about Think Agile and how, just addressing the VMware comment, right? Just if people are wanting to get off of VMware, we have the Think Agile HX, which runs Nutanix. We have the Think Agile MX, which runs the Azure local Hyper-V ecosystem, right? So those are two of the main alternatives that Lenovo currently has. That's sort of pre-canned and pre-certified to run different virtualization environments out of the box, right?
Yeah. Oh, Paul's on. Yeah, the guy who wrote the Proxmox white papers on the webinar. That's awesome. The other thing that I'm going to hint at that you can expect to see coming is that we are looking at adding a family of products to our Think Agile portfolio, because we're seeing this need in the market for customers that want to get off VMware but can't yet. But they want to deploy gear, and they want to keep that gear around for as long as possible. But maybe they only have like a 2-year license on VMware. So we are thinking about adding to the portfolio a version of Think Agile, which allows the flexibility. So if a customer wants to deploy it as a VMware today, and then 2 years later they want to migrate it to like a different partner, like a Nutanix, they can do that on the same box without having to rip and replace the gear and that type of stuff. Look out for that. That's going to be probably announced fairly soon. I think the market's been demanding it, and it's something that we can kind of do. But for the older techs, a lot of the drives are going U.3. Even U.3, I think, has a short lifespan, because I was just sitting with some of the drive vendors going forward. The SATA SAS still kind of exists. Unfortunately, Broadcom is going to have a chokehold on the market from a RAID perspective, so they're gonna require the hardware RAID for some of their VMware configurations and stuff like that. But I definitely agree. SATA SAS is becoming a way of the past, especially for any workload that's kind of running high performance or AI, right? We're recommending to go to an NVMe based like a U.3 for all the customers from that perspective.
The costs have come down quite a bit too, right? So
Yes.
Not just from a server standpoint, like we're not talking about storage today, but on the SAN side as well, right? We're moving a lot of stuff to full NVMe. It's not just all flash, right? And the costs have come way down compared to like not even 5 years ago, right? When things were much more expensive. So NVMe is definitely here and definitely the future. Okay, any other questions, folks? If not, let me just see my checklist here. So yeah, you'll receive a link to the webcast for replay for if your teammates or yourself want to review this webcast. You can download the presentation as a PDF in the resources module on your screen right now. Also on your screen right now is my email address in the upper right hand corner, Lenovo Canada ISG at dnh.com. Please reach out if you have any questions or suggestions, on future topics that you'd like to hear about. Speaking of future topics, our next webcast is going to be in November, I believe, so in about 2 months' time. And we're going to have Paul coming back, right, to talk about, there you go. Paul's going to come back and talk to us about edge servers. So that's another area of growth that we've seen, or Lenovo has seen a lot of growth in, is with edge servers. So we'll talk about how, different scenarios, whether it's, manufacturing in a woodworking shop or in a CNC. I just had a customer the other day, actually, that's they need to replace a server for their CNC machine because the software that they run, they need to upgrade. Anyway, we will talk more about that in the next webcast with Paul, and we look forward to having you sign up and join us then. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Paul, for taking us through the refresh.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been fun. I'm looking forward to coming back in a couple months.